people. Oh, they are evading to pay their taxes. They're this evil. They don't want to cooperate with the government, and they're evading taxes. But the thing is that what it doesn't work is the equivalent of the IRS in Puerto Rico, which is Hacienda. Not said by me, even said by his former director on the last administration, that when he got there, and these are not my words, I cannot even make this shit up, which is Juan Zaragoza. He started raiding bills, and he was all of a sudden this bad guy because he was trying to get the tax collection to work. Because it has been, and when he got deep into the problem, after he raided like thousands of businesses in Puerto Rico that were not paying, he was closing businesses down, and they were not paying that there were irregularities. He wanted to send a message, but when he went deeper, he even wrote it down and publicized it in a newspaper that he ventilated his frustration onto the fact that he was told by people, I brought you the same things I brought you always, but you have a tax, you have a percentage that you're supposed to pay this, and this is actually the recount of Juan Zaragoza. Yeah, but I've been paying you this for like 10 years and you haven't told me nothing. And that was the thinking point that started the business rates. What I'm getting here, folks, is that the fact that the thing is that business do not come into the business game thinking beforehand, thinking before opening the business that they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna be evading taxes. No, it doesn't work that way. The thing is that Hacienda, which is Puerto Rico's equivalent to the IRS, has been so dysfunctional, so massively dysfunctional, is that people do not want to work. And what they do is that they tell these other people, you pay me this and I paid the paper, I put the stamp on it and you're good to go. And their businesses that maybe they were supposed to give taxes for around $100,000, they get sent home. You pay me $10,000, that's it. And that person could take a part of that, couldn't take a part of that. Because we have embedded in the public administration in Puerto Rico for, I would say, perhaps almost 60 years. But to be quite frankly honest, mostly on the last 40 to 50 years specifically. It has been embedded in the whole public administration system to work less, to get paid more. That's why you go to government. That's why you want that employment with the government, because you're gonna work less, you're gonna get paid more. And that's been the mentality. In Puerto Rico, if you get the job with the government, you feel like you're made. You're made for 4 years, but you're made. Especially in municipalities. Now, getting back to the report, one of the first things, as I have explained that, this report, it was to me a little bit curious, because the first thing it explained, it was that last year, the medical cannabis industry in Puerto Rico made $98 million, from which Hacienda only got, from the part of the local sales tax, only got $3.8 million. Funny thing about this supposed to be investigative series is the fact that they want to make the actual people who are the medical cannabis industry in Puerto Rico looks like tax evaders. They want to make them look like criminals. And on the other side, you got people blaming the actual industry of being a monopoly. Which in great way, it's a real misunderstanding and is as far away from the truth as you can get. And I'm going to explain you why. You don't see the pattern that media is trying to slam and still demonize medical cannabis, and in the same time, poor people who want, and they have a right, and I believe in their right, to grow more at their houses, to have the opportunity, because this is not something cheap. And then this report series from WAPA, from Noticentro, which was led by Celimar Adames, goes to the other territory, one of my favorite ones, which is, oh, medical cannabis is so expensive. What the fuck were you expecting? This is not... First of all, the people in the industry did not set the rules and the standards. That was set by this government to make a disruption and to persuade people not to get into the cannabis business. They wanted it to fail. They have built a structure so the industry fails. And with time, that structure has been rebuilt so that the people fail. Because recently, there's no way that it's been like amended. Like a couple of weeks ago, it was prohibited by 2 dispensaries to sell vaporizers. Okay, I get it. Pipe shops need their breathing break, and I get it, and I support that idea. I'm not against it. But then all of a sudden, it got dismissed, and then all of a sudden, they could sell vaporizers again. I'm a half and half on that one. I think dispensaries should have a limited amount, or they should at least be allowed, because the thing is that the vaporizer being sold at the dispensary, it hurts the pipe show owner. But the thing is that, and the pipe show owner could give you a really well explanation on how that vaporizer works without, without being a licensed bartender. But the thing is that some people, especially the people who are retired, the people who are really old, how do you put a person that is like 64, retired, has arthritis, is going shit scared to a dispensary, and you're gonna get into a pipe shop, which is a more laid-back environment, but if you're not from that environment, it will be a scary environment. Now to the whole vaping thing and whatever, and that's the problem there. The thing is that they try to attack it because it is too expensive. So the thing is that this report is trying to make the industry look like it's really greedy and they're evading taxes. These are monsters. Well, and has anyone checked on the Shackler family? Because they made OxyContin, which actually has killed hundreds of millions of people, and they made the cure and they got a stupid fine. I think it was like, what, 150 million? That family wipes their asses with that money. In fact, they can roll out that amount of money to get a cooker to do cocaine and shit. That's how filthy that people is. And we're still seeing these pharmaceutical companies as these huge emperors, and we need to praise them. They are going in favor of health and well-being. And look at these motherfuckers trying to look all medical and shit. And they're just like drugs and shit. And this is what it promotes. That kind of irresponsible journalism, that's what it promotes. Why do you go deeper? Why don't you go asking why it is expensive? Because you have a cultivation center. Let's say, for example, you're not gonna get a guy who is working with plátanos or coffee. You're not gonna get that guy to get to set up a shop in a cultivation for cannabis. You need to get an expert. And most people, they tend to get a certified expert. The thing is that in Puerto Rico, this is a new law. As of now, there are no certified experts when this was starting. So what most of these places had to do, they had to outsource a master grower in the United States so they can set up a shop. A master grower is not something that comes cheap. Cultivation management, as well as the management that it is required inside these places, is also not cheap. And it's really hard. And you're still battling all this ignorance, you're still battling all of it. And the thing is that this report, what it said, I think it was one-sided to make the actual industry look really bad. And trust me, folks, I've been getting not hate mail, I would say. I know people who are pissed about me getting into this point, but it's the truth. The actual industry, most of the people who are in the actual industry is people who dared, who took a chance. There's not, in actual government, there's lobbying, because there it is, but there's no a strong figure elected, no from the majority winners right now, no from the minorities, who's willing to give this fight. Maybe some of the more left-sided minorities, and even the Partido Independentista Puertorriqueño is one that is not really open and is not really down with medical cannabis. Because they have friends and political investors that come from the pharmaceutical industry, that ironically comes from the gringos. And that's a problem. Not even in the far left. These people, and I can tell you this because I know the political system, they don't have a backup on any corner on the political fight. In none. So they have to go through they have to withstand the changes on the whole rule book by the Department of Health. I'm not saying that I'm not criticizing the morality of the practices or not, because I'm just putting out what these people go through to then have this supposed to be special report basically slamming them as people who are trying to rob other people. It's really expensive. The amount of security that you need to have, the protocols of security that you have in this industry. And what is most laughable of all of this, the most laughable fact on all of this, I would say it is the fact that they say, we don't know how much they're earning. Well, let me tell you this. The medical cannabis industry in Puerto Rico is so regulated, so hugely regulated, that there is a process in which every part, the plant gets tracked. And this is not a secret, but the plant is tracked from its seed to the moment it goes out of the door of the dispensary. All of the steps are counted by the Department of Health of Puerto Rico. All of them. So, the fact that they did not collect their supposed to be $11 million out of the $98 million that the medical cannabis industry made is not in fault. It's not the fault of the industry, because the industry, they have a weekly agenda that is really, really, really hectic. You have to go to a procedure in the morning, which then you have to go to that same procedure in the afternoon. After you do both of those procedures, then you have to be managing, checking the money that is getting into your account. After that, you have the fight that you don't have a bank that is willing to back you up due to federal regulations, that there's only one institution who is taking risk and is getting constantly its license putting up stake. So most of this business, they can pay their suppliers, they can pay their security, they can pay everyone. Make sure how to move that inventory, make sure marketing, this is not the business for someone who wants to come and wants to, this is